Hi everyone, this is Lori here with Lori Hooks. Welcome. Thanks for hanging out with me today. So I'm going to call this video a crochet and chat, but in reality, I'm going to be knitting. I don't have a mindless crochet project right now except for a blanket project, which is just too hot today to sit with a blanket on my lap, so knitting it is. So we'll start out with the yarny chat first, in case that's all you're here for, so that way you can hear about those things and then move on if you wish, and we'll talk about the other stuff at the end. Well, I'll try to talk about the other stuff at the end, no promises. Sometimes I get off on a little whatever tangent, whatever, forget what I'm talking about and get into the personal stuff first. So I am wearing my finished object. If you've been here before, you have probably seen it before. This is a crochet tank top. It is a free pattern on Yarn Inspiration's website, and I have the pattern here. It is called Bernat Let's Summer Crochet Top, and this is the pictures of theirs on their pattern. Okay, and let's talk about it. Let's talk about what I did differently or whatever. So starting out with the yarn, I used pretty much the yarn that it calls for. The pattern calls for Bernat Softy Cotton, and I used Bernat Softy Cotton Baby, which has the same spec as Bernat Softy Cotton. It's just more baby colors. And the color that I am used is called Aqua Mist, and this is what it looks like. This is what the label looks like. We'll try to show you the label. Do I have it upside down? Yes, I do. That's what the label looks like. So this is my third skein. I had plenty of yarn. It called for 3 skeins for the yarn, the size that I did, and I had plenty of yarn, even with the changes that I did, which would have used a lot more yarn. So let's get on to the pattern. The pattern is a very simple V-stitch pattern. It would be good for a beginner, I would say. Maybe maybe not like a beginner, more of an advanced beginner. But it's pretty easy pattern to follow. It's just V-stitches. And in terms of the changes that I made, you wouldn't have to make these changes. They would just what I chose to do. So I chose to the body length. They had said to crochet until the body up to the arms was 13 inches long. I need my tops a little longer. I'm a little bit more conservative, so I crocheted till my body length was 15 inches long. That's just my preference, is that it more coverage. And then they had you know, go in for the arms. Now I didn't comment this, say this is, you crochet 2 panels, the front and the back, they're the same. So it doesn't have a front and back really, this shirt. So you crochet them so they were both the same, and then you sew them together. So as I said, I added the 2 inches to the length, and then when I was done, their pattern has you sew them together and be done. I decided that I wanted to finish edge, so I did do an edging of single crochet around the sleeves and around the neck hole. That was just my preference to do that. So of course, between the extra 2 inches of length and the single crochets that I did around, that would have used a fair bit more yarn. So I think like I followed the pattern for the large size, which their sizing's a little off. I would wear normally an extra large. They said the large size was for measurements. They say fit bust measurement 40 to 42 inches, and they're saying the finished bust is 46 inches. I didn't measure mine. I would assume that it's pretty close to 46 inches based on what I know my measurements are. And I used a 4.5 millimeter hook. The pattern called for a 4 millimeter hook. I needed to use the 4.5 to get gauge, because I did do a gauge swatch. And what other changes would I have made now looking back after the fact? I think I would have made my armhole come up a little higher and therefore my neck a little lower. Those probably would be the only changes that I would make. I'm going to insert a picture here of what my top looks like full length. I'll move over to make room for that. And I'm very happy with how it came out. It's really comfy. It's nice and airy for a day that is super hot like today. It does have some holes in it, so if you are a conservative lady like me, you probably want to wear a tank top underneath. I guess probably if you were a young person, you know, maybe not a bra, a sports bra might be okay underneath. My daughter's pretty conservative. She would probably wear a tank top underneath, but that's my daughter. She is a pretty conservative young girl. So that's my knit top done. My crocheted summer top. I've got knit on the brain. But I'm very happy with how it came out. It was a fun, quick make. And I would make it again, but as I said, I would just raise up these armholes a little bit. Now, that also could be just to my body shaping. My body shape is, when they say to fit bust measurements, I don't go by my bust measurement. My bust measurement is smaller than my waist measurement. I carry my weight in the middle and I don't have much of a bust. So I always have to think of that when I make wearables. And you know, even when I buy clothes, I always have to look for clothes that are, you know, something that flatters somebody who is smaller in the chest and larger in the waist. And I could have, because this is a crocheted pattern and made it myself, I could have altered it to accommodate that, and I just didn't. I didn't think about it. I should have, and if I would make it again, I would. So that is my summer top, and I am very happy with it. It's the fact this hangs a little low is okay. I wear a tank top underneath it anyway, so that's fine. So yeah. So that is my first item that I finished. My second item that I finished is this knit dishcloth. I showed this on my last video, and this is exactly the same as what the dishcloth that I am working on now. I do have a mistake in here, which you can probably see. It's right there. I somehow dropped a stitch right here, and I just saw this a minute ago, and I'm gonna grab like cut off a piece of white yarn and just sew this in, because if I don't, it's gonna unravel. I don't know how I dropped this stitch, but I found it sitting here. I actually finished this knit dishcloth on the weekend, but I did not have a tapestry needle with me to sew in my ends, so I sewed them in a minute ago before I started this video and found this hole and started looking at the hole to see what it was and realized that somehow I dropped a stitch, but it is hanging on so far, so I'll sew it in before it unravels, and I'll just keep this dishcloth for myself. But it's a cute little dishcloth, and the one that I'm working on is exactly the same. I started this one right after I finished that one, and that was the only cotton yarn that I had with me at the time. And what else have I worked on since then? Oh, I started another summer top last night. This one is a cardigan. I will show you a picture of it here. This is a paid for pattern. I purchased it on Etsy. It's called Jasmine Sweater Crochet Pattern by Anna D, and is considered an intermediate pattern. This is a very terrible picture, but this is what it looks like. It is a crocheted cardigan, and it has kind of like flower shaped holes in it. I haven't really done enough to really see what the holes look like yet, but it's gonna have lots of holes in it. And this is what I've done so far, and this is one of the front panels. It is done as front panel, a back panel, and sleeves, so it's going to have to be all sewn together. But this is what the front panel looks like so far. I just started this last night, and can already tell this is going to be a quick make, because this did not take me very long to make. So, and that was after I did a gauge swatch and everything last night. So yeah, that's pretty quick so far. So the yarn that I'm using for this is Soho Cotton Chic. And I bought this from Hirschner's. Hirschner's, I think? Yes, it was Hirschner's. I got it, I'm gonna say I got it in May, maybe, probably. And I got 10 of these. They were having a deal on cotton. It was, they called this a 10 pack, but it wasn't actually a 10 pack. They just took 10 of these and threw them in the box. And the color of this is eggshell. These are 100% cotton. There's 100 grams on the, I'm gonna call it a ball because it comes like this, which is why the label's off, because I'm doing it from the outside. They say it's machine washed, lay flat to dry, made in China. Yeah, distributed by Hirschner's. It is a medium 4, and they request using a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook. I am using, where's my hook? I believe I'm using a 5. The pattern calls for a 5? Yes, the pattern calls for a 5, and I'm using the crochet hook the pattern called for. I don't know where my crochet hook went, but I know I'm using the called for size. So I'm using a 5. So that is what I am starting on now, my new WIP, now that I finished my tank top. So now let's get on to life stuff. So those of you who are in the States and celebrated July 4th yesterday, you know, I hope you had a great July 4th. I hope that you had a nice day with your family, friends, whatever you chose to do. I assume that you guys had fireworks, stuff like that. We had Canada Day on the weekend, and hubby and I went camping for the weekend at a fairly local private campground. We've been there lots of times before. It is about, sorry, my knitting needles keep sliding out of my hands. The park that we went to is about a half an hour, 45 minutes from home. As I said, we've been there quite a few times. Because it's local, they tend to have available spaces that if you book last minute, it's okay. So it tends to be our last minute booking, which I did book it last minute. Hubby originally was going to go do something else, go to like a car thing for the weekend with a couple of his friends, but the friends decided that they didn't want to go for whatever reason. So instead we decided to go camping and get away from the house for the weekend. It was quiet, it was relaxing, it was not exciting. We Saturday we got there Friday. We went when hubby finished work. We got there Friday, and Friday night we just set the trailer up, get everything organized the way we like it. Cooked up some burgers for supper and had a salad with it. Had a little fire on Friday night. Saturday, I don't think it rained. No, it didn't rain at all on Saturday, I don't think. We got up in the morning and realized that we were missing a couple things. So the town that we were in has a lot of tourists nearby, so some of the stores were open despite the fact that Saturday was Canada Day. So we went into the town there, went and got the couple things that we needed, and then went back to the campground, and the rest of the day we just relaxed. I did some knitting and crocheting. I brought the knit dishcloth, I brought some knit socks, and I brought the crocheted blanket that I'm working on. So I spent most of the time knitting, or hubby and I played some Yahtzee. We didn't really do anything else. It was pretty warm on Saturday. We just sat around outside and talked and whatever. And hubby cooked us up some steaks for supper and sweet potato, and we had mushrooms with it, and I think that's it. Sunday, it rained a bit on Sunday, not too bad. They were calling for like big time rain. It only rained a little bit on Sunday. So the rest of the day, again, we just spent relaxing. We played Yahtzee, and hubby cooked us up some barbecued chicken for supper. And then on Monday, they have their checkout's pretty early. They want you to be out by 11. So we checked out in the morning and headed home. Our son was home for the weekend, and he had some friends over on Sunday night, which I knew about. And as I expected, when we arrived home on Monday we got home, it was about noon when we walked in. They were just waking up from their tough night the night before, and the air mattresses were still all over the floor from them staying over, which is fine. We rather that if he's going to have friends over and they're going to have a couple drinks, that's the way they need to do it. You know, they need to get their air mattresses out and, you know, be safe and stay over, which is exactly what they did. So that's all good. And so they were working on one of their trucks. They finished what they were doing with the guy's truck and cleaned up the mess that they left, which is great. And yeah, I went and had a pedicure on Monday afternoon. The stores here on Monday, because most of the stores were closed on Saturday. The stores here were open on Monday as if it was a normal day, but those of us who are office workers and those type of things, we had Monday off for the holiday. So that was my not exciting weekend of camping and relaxing. And it was nice just to chill and relax and not have to do a lot with hubby. The weekend coming up, I think we're going to go see our daughter and maybe stay with my parents. I need to call my mom and make sure that she's up to having company. So that is our upcoming weekend, and not much exciting going on here during the week. It is really hot outside, extremely humid. The air is just stagnant. I don't know how else to say it. There's nothing moving out there. There's no breeze. There's nothing. Like when I look out the window now, the trees are hardly even moving. I'm inside with the air on, but our air conditioner, I can hear it's working hard. It's running constantly. So, and I did turn the temperature up a little bit. So I set it. It's normally 2 degrees. It's normally set 2 degrees less than what it is right now. I turned it up a little bit just for the day today because it is just so hot outside in that air conditioner. It's working hard. So yeah, that is what is going on with me. We normally have fireworks on Canada Day. The place where we stayed, they do not have fireworks there. Here in Southern Ontario, we do not have a fire ban, at least near where I am. My daughter is staying at a camp for the summer that is, well, she's working there. She's about 2.5 hours north from us, and they do have fire ban there. When she was texting me on Saturday, which when I talked to her yesterday, I forgot to ask her what they ended up doing because I talked to her on the phone yesterday, but when I texted her Saturday afternoon, she said, you know, I just wished her a happy Canada Day, and said hello, those type of things, and asked her what they were doing for Canada Day because they usually go to town and watch the fireworks, and because this is her 3rd summer working there, so she knows what they normally do, and because of the fire ban, there is no fireworks. So she said they were going to the Leadership Lodge, which I think is on the other side of the lake. So I had intended to ask her if they canoed over or how they got to the leadership lodge, but I totally forgot, you know, and ask her what they were going to do there and stuff like that. But I totally forgot. So I didn't, yeah. Because when I talked to her yesterday, we had a bunch of other stuff to talk about. We had to talk about upcoming, because she has Saturday off this week. So we talked about what she wants to do on Saturday, things that she's missing that she needs from home, stuff like that. And it was nice just to hear her voice. She sounds very upbeat and she's having a good time, which is what I like to hear. Yeah. So that's me for this week, for last weekend, and for my upcoming. So what have you guys all been working on? You know, do you have summer projects that you're working on? I noticed that watching some others, YouTubers, they're working on Christmas projects, they're working on winter wearables, stuff like that. I can't bring myself to work on it. I'm enjoying working with the cottons and the summer materials, and if I don't get to wear it this summer, that's fine. You know, obviously this top, I finished it in plenty of time. I expect this summer cardigan and that I'm working on, I expect that I'll finish it in lots of time, then I'm not worried about that either. But yeah, that's what I'm enjoying working on, and yeah. So I feel myself starting to ramble, so it's time for me to go. So thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing, and I have an unboxing coming up that I'll be recording right after this. And I'll see you next time on Lori Hooks. Bye, everyone.